It's my privilege to get to introduce the student story for tonight, and he is one of my fellow fraternity brothers. He's in my pledge class, and he has a super amazing story about just how God has moved in his life and done some miraculous ways of just speaking to him and doing things that, only God can do. So please give a warm welcome for Calhoun.
So just let me start up here. Yeah, so I'm Calhoun. I'm a junior studying accounting. I'm in beta. And yeah, this is, I wish I could say it's my story, but it's more of a God story working through me. So yeah. So I knew God from a real young age. I have two great parents that introduced me to him. And I gave my life to him. I got baptized when I was really young, like 5, 6 years old. Like, I barely remember it. And going to church, just like doing the God thing, became very routine to me. Yeah, I went through high school, through college, had a lot of accomplishments, a lot of great things, and I was doing all the things you need to do to be a good Christian, I was coming to Doulos, I was going to church, I was doing everything in my life seemed like it was okay. But really, I was not walking with God the way I should. I was still looking to myself, I was thinking I was in control, I was really doing things that anyone would do, living like someone that doesn't know God. So I always thought I was in control, I was doing my own thing, and that was until April 8th, 2021. So I was walking over to my girlfriend's apartment, and I got hit by a car. I was crossing 13th Street on 3rd Avenue, right in front of the Krispy Kreme, and I got hit by a car. So I suffered a traumatic brain injury. More specifically, it's called a diffuse axonal injury. That's when the brain moves back and forth inside your skull. And what it did is it sheared the tissues and the neurons that talk to each other, that send messages to your body. It broke all that. So I was immediately in a coma. Ambulances came. I was sent down to Shands. I was in the ER there for about 2 weeks. I slowly started coming out of the coma. I was ambulanced up to Brooks Rehabilitation in Jacksonville. I spent 6 weeks there in a rehab hospital. I did a 10-week intensive program for people with brain injuries. And then I went back home, did last semester from home, and I did more therapies, more physical therapy, cognitive therapy, things like that. And that finished up, thankfully, right before Christmas. So I couldn't walk. I was in a wheelchair for a couple months. My fine motor skills in my right hand were really poor. Couldn't really do things that involved picking things up, moving things around. It was just really difficult for me. My brain speed, just like problem-solving speed, doing really simple things, just taking a real long time, just crawling along. So it's kind of a big story, hopefully the biggest bad thing that will ever happen in anyone's life. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But through all that, God showed me a lot. Big thing God showed me is His grace. I honestly, first and foremost, I should not be alive. So a car hit me going 35 miles an hour. I flipped over the top. There was a second car that stopped 8 inches from me. And the driver was actually a former EMT that had just gotten off work. So he was able to get out, kind of do what you can do in that scenario, help me until ambulances and professionals with equipment could arrive. So God, just from the very beginning, He was there, He was with me. He may have let a bad thing happen, but the whole time He used it for His glory, and He brought me here, and He's the reason I'm here today. Another thing I saw is His control. Just through every step of what happened, from the rehab hospital to the rehab program to being home, God was just always there, always present, always moving. I never felt alone. I always had just something so much bigger, so much greater, that was just guiding me, controlling me, helping me get back to where I am today. And the big thing I saw is just how God can restore His love for us. Through the whole situation, I should not be here today. I should not be alive, first and foremost, but there are a lot of people with the same injury as me. They can't walk, can't talk, much less, go to a top 5 public school and live on their own.
Come on.
And I'm doing what I'm doing. I should not be here, but God gave me the platform, and He brought me back to life. He saved my life and brought me here today, and I'm very thankful for that. I was able to make a complete 180 with my life, start living it for God, and I'm really glad to see a ton of people out here tonight that I can share my story with and keep magnifying Him. So if there's just one thing I could say to sum it all up, it would be there is a God. That's undeniable throughout my story and throughout all of life. God does love you. He does care about you. He sent His Son as a sacrifice for you. And He's relational. He wants a relationship with you. And He will go to great lengths, overcome anything you've done. And He loves you. And so, if there's one verse I have to just sum everything up, it's Psalm 56:13. It says, "For you have delivered my soul from death, yes, my feet from failing, that I may walk before God in the light of life." So I'm just really excited to be here with you all today to praise such a wonderful God we serve. And thank you guys for being here, for listening to my story. And if you all have any questions, you want to hear more details, I'd love to talk about it, talk about Him, and I'll be here at the end. So, yeah, thank you guys for listening.
Thank you, Calhoun. It's definitely not an easy thing to stand up and talk about your life, especially in a room this big. Davis, thanks for coming out to support your brother. It's cool to see you guys here. It's amazing. I remember being at the hospital days after your accident happened, and all these same guys that are standing in the back, they were there too, day and night, night and day, because guys are there to support you. So it's really cool just to see how your fraternity really rallied around you. In all of Greek life, really, there are people, you probably heard these stories, people all across campus were praying for you, people all across the state of Florida, people all across the country. We have friends overseas that were praying for you. So it's just amazing to see how the body of Christ came around you and your family during that time. So it's an amazing thing to see how God has not just saved your life, but has turned you to the Calhoun that we knew and brought you back here so quickly. So, yeah, thank you. I think that a story like this, like knowing Calhoun personally and seeing what he and his family went through, is a reminder to us that life really is short, and we don't know what the next day holds. And so I just want to encourage you guys to make the most of the opportunities that you have. Make the most of the friendships you have. Obviously, go to class, do your schoolwork and all that, but at the end of the day, those aren't going to be the things that you look back on your life and say, I'm so glad I studied that extra hour. And so I do want to encourage you to invest in the people that are around you here, invest in friendships, and really invest in a relationship with God. Whether you have no idea what that means or you've grown up in a Christian family all your life, Doulos exists to help you grow closer to God and to help you help others do the same thing. So